Hey guys, welcome back to Project 15, Day 2. Today we'll be reading Mark 1, verse 16 to 34, where Jesus calls his disciples.
G'day teenagers, I hope you were encouraged by what you just read in Mark's Gospel. I just want to zero in on the first story you read today about Jesus calling a group of fishermen to follow him. So we read about Jesus calling two sets of brothers to follow him. The first set of brothers was a man by the name of Simon, who's also called Peter, and his brother Andrew. And the second set of brothers were called James and John. Now, it might interest you to know that these four men were teenagers just like you. They were in their mid to late teens, or in the case of Peter, in his early 20s. That's remarkable to think about because sometimes when we think about the followers of Jesus, we think about old men who left everything to follow him. But these were teenagers, they were similar age to you. Now in Jesus' day, most people stopped school around the age of 11 or 12. In fact, many people couldn't even afford to go to school, but if you could afford to go to school, you would typically stop your education around 11 or 12. Now, those who had a lot of money and whose parents could afford it, and those who were the best of the best in their class, they might be called to do further studies. Now, Jesus in his day was called a rabbi, and rabbis were like ancient teachers. And rabbis had students, the biblical word is disciples, like apprentices who followed them, who traveled with them, students who lived with them and traveled about and learned from them. Now, Jesus calls these first four men. He calls a lot of people, he calls both men and women, but originally he calls these first four men and he says, "Come follow me. Stop being a fisherman." In other words, stop following your trade. Stop following the trade of your father. Stop being a fisherman and come and follow me. Come and be my students. And I want you to know that that is the calling that God puts on our life. He doesn't necessarily call us to stop studying or stop working, but he does call us to follow him. You see, Jesus is our teacher and we are his students. And like the four men who Jesus called in today's story, God wants to call you and I to follow him and to be his students. Now, you also read today some stories about Jesus going around and healing people. He goes around and heals people who have a variety of diseases. And you also read an even incredible story about him driving out a demon from somebody who was possessed. But what I want you to notice here is how Jesus has the power to heal people. Jesus had the power to drive out those who had demons. Jesus had the power to heal people who had a variety of sicknesses. Now, as you read through Mark's Gospel, you're going to notice that Jesus does a lot of miracles. These miracles are designed to show us God's power. These miracles are designed to show us that Jesus is in fact God. And because God is the creator of the human body, Jesus had the capacity to heal people when they had various sicknesses. So I hope you enjoyed that little quick explanation. I encourage you now to go to our 7 minutes of prayer, and we'll see you again tomorrow for episode 3 of Project 15.